Hey you, you're finally awake. Wanna visit Skyrim? Welcome to my video.
Wait, that's not how I remember it. So after around 200 hours, I have finally finished this game with my friend. I've joined Stormcloaks, which was the biggest mistake, and liberated Skyrim with many console commands. Defeated Alduin, joined the vampires, killed Harkon and became the vampire lord. And also set foot on Solstheim Island to ruin Mirak's plans. Today I'm going to show you my painful experience with this incredible mod called Skyrim Together. Let's get started. Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, Firzj here. Before we begin, I must say that the team who is responsible for this mod did an incredible job to make players finally experience Skyrim with your friends. But if you have none, don't worry, you will probably find at least one while playing on any of these servers. Or you can even make your own server. Now, I'm not going to describe the installation process or retell the whole Skyrim story here, I'm just sharing here my experience after 200 hours of gameplay. Technically speaking, this mod simply adds a model to your single player game, which is controlled remotely by a real player. It can jump, attack, use commands, interact with quests and loot. Hell, you can even pickpocket your own friend as the game thinks that you are still playing a single player. This of course leads to many inconveniences and restrictions during gameplay for other players, including the host. The host is basically the main guy, also known as the party leader, who must start new quests, talk to NPCs to share or continue quest steps and interact with all quest items, while his sidekicks have to stare, kill enemies where necessary and do nothing, or the game may break and soft lock completely. I can't imagine playing this on console where you have no console commands and when you encounter a bug you are basically stuck forever. In other words, the host plays his own single player game and you play your own game. All landmarks, radiant quests, experience or spell books are not shared. This is especially painful for those who want to become werewolf or vampire, as these powers are given only to the main player and the second player is usually left with nothing. So everything I mentioned before you have to get by yourself. And always keep your eyes on your leader, as he can trigger something you're likely to miss or run far away from you. And there is also no marker on your compass or any other icon for showing your party members. Your only option would be to teleport from the party menu while praying that it won't crash. Since it's a single player game, expect to see many out of sync objects, NPC without closets, invisible guards to other players, passive enemies in most of the dungeons, and also dragon claw gates with puzzles. Another big ass restriction here is that if other player instead of the host enters the location first, the loaded zone will be tied to that first player who got in. This surely led us to many bugs, sync issues, quests, soft locks and crashes, and the only good solution to this problem was to roll back our saves. Basically this mod taught me the hard way to quick save the game whenever an important stuff happens. I'll explain this point later. So long story short, Skyrim including its engine is hard-coded into single player, and if you plan to play this mod even only with one friend, it's going to be painful, trust me. With all that being said, let's continue. As I mentioned before, this mod obviously has some critical flaws. The devs don't rush to update their mod unless the new version of Skyrim is out to break everything. But despite all that, it is quite playable even in its current state. Skyrim Together itself works fine. You can search and join any server you like, you can then invite other players to join your group and start an adventure. And surprisingly, you can also chat in this game, but using this for instant communication is not very convenient. It takes time to open and it takes time to type your message. This will be especially annoying if you can't run the game like me above 60 frames per second, as this multiplayer UI is tied to your FPS. But don't worry, if you have a high-end GPU and if you can handle ENB shaders, then you should be fine. Additionally, if you open Steam Overlay or use Alt-Tab while your chat or invite window is opened, you can easily break this UI and you will have to reload the game. As for the quest, I believe you you can finish 80% of the quests without using console commands if you carefully follow the host and don't break anything. But as you might have noticed, I used console commands quite often. Prepare to Google lots of IDs and quick save in case something goes wrong. This includes spawning NPCs by their base ID, teleporting to ref ID, changing race to fix werewolf form, adding missing items to the inventory, killing unkillable mobs, changing quest stages, getting rid of unnecessary quest items, clipping through the walls as some dragon claw doors were not opening for me but for the host, and more. As for the leveling and difficulty settings, this mod certainly has balancing issues because again it is a single player game. We found a server which was on adept difficulty and started leveling there for quite some time. It was still a rough adventure, we were under leveled and lacked weapons, but things started to change drastically once we figured out that we could level up much faster by attacking each other, and the easiest way was to use sneak attacks. This allowed us to boost one-handed weapons, sneaking and light/heavy armor quite fast and move forward with the quests. At some point we even improved our weapons and enchanted them to the maximum damage. We could of course add some levels from console commands, but since the game lets us do that, it was more fair and we had fun. In some rare cases we could also find glitched dragons that were stuck inside the structures, and it helped us level up even further. As some of you probably know, that dragons can't die while they are mid-air. They only die when they land. Thank you, Todd. We were basically destroying adept difficulty and decided to find a different server on a master difficulty, and since then it was quite a balancing experience. While most of the mobs were still passive, it was challenging enough. Mobs had more HP and they hit hard, so we had to use most of our spells and weapons. Enchanting and blacksmith upgrades also helped us improve our characters. You can obviously tell by the damage on my one-handed axe, which I used half of the time. All that stuff was crafted, improved and enchanted with the enchanting set. We both also had to dupe plenty of items because some of them were hard to obtain. Since it runs on a shared world, one player can easily put his hard-earned items in a chest and then roll back a save to get more items of the same type. This saved us a lot of time and basically removed the grind completely. We weren't grinding any ores or ingredients as it was time consuming and not fun. We simply wanted to enjoy the game and we did, sort of. Of course it is considered as cheating, but our initial plan was to casually finish the story with most of the side quests that we encountered on our way. But if you are the one who wants to live in this game and enjoy every second of it, then you are free to do whatever you want. Just don't forget to share your findings with others. Another big deal here while playing in co-op are escort quests, where you have to escort or wait for NPCs to reach their destination. This may sound easy in theory but difficult in practice. Most NPCs will travel to far distances across Skyrim and waiting to skip time is not an option, as the time is tied to the server itself. Sometimes these NPCs may even get stuck between different loading zones or stop moving completely. The only idea we could come with was to leave the server, pass time on the host side, get past this objective, join the server, recreate the party and move on. And this process was annoying as hell for sure, even for two-player experience. And another game-breaking choice you can make is joining to Stormcloaks before finishing the main story. Simply don't repeat my mistake. This faction is completely broken and you will encounter lots of bugs regarding reputation, quest chains, missing jarls and bugged main quests where you have to catch a dragon. You would probably say that there is one mod called Unofficial Skyrim patch that fixes most of these bugs I mentioned earlier, but we trusted the devs and decided to embrace Skyrim in its original state. Such a big mistake. Speaking of other mods, we only used visual mods without touching the fundamentals, as the 2011 version looks like complete garbage with low-res textures and inconvenient console UI. We spent many hours testing every single mod and we made sure everything worked perfectly, but the longer we played, the more crashes we encountered. My friend and I later realized that the root of the problem was the co-op mod itself. I could crash up to 50 times in one day and it really pissed me off. Even when when I played without any other mods, it could still crash for no reason. In most cases these crashes were caused by opening my inventory, switching zones, interacting with doors or chests, or when I was trying to improve my armor on blacksmith. This game could also crash at any minute and ruin our quest steps, and for this reason we started to use quick save as often as we could. Another problem with these crashes is that once your game crashes, it creates a 1 GB crash dump in your system folder as well as in the games folder, which may quickly drain your free space or even reduce your disk health in the long term if you leave it unnoticed. But for some reason my system didn't allow more than 10 crash dumps in that folder, so it was always capped at 10 gigs. This may vary on your system, but in any case prepare for frequent crashes to desktop. If not the frequent crashes or bugged quests, this mod deserves the highest praise for their hard work. I believe there's still much to be done to improve this co-op experience. After playing this game for more than 200 hours, I would say that I rather enjoyed it, and I don't regret my decision to play it with my friend. Bringing multiplayer to this legendary single-player game is like a breath of fresh air, and many veteran or new players will certainly take their chances to play it with their friends and make some fun. This mod definitely has enough room for expansion to allow bigger mods like Enderal, Sky Oblivion or even Fallout 4, as they all run on the same engine and have many similarities. I'm looking forward to playing all these mods in the future with my friends to experience these worlds from a new co-op perspective. The devs just need more time to connect all the dots and make it work. Despite all these unpredictable bugs and crashes, it is still playable, but I believe that not many players like me will make it to the end. I honestly don't understand why many players play this mod alone on the server or trying to join other hosts. This way players simply soft log their save files while playing with strangers without realizing it. I hope that one day this mod will become more accessible and stable in terms of optimization. Maybe I'm asking a lot and it is technically difficult to accomplish, or maybe not, I don't know. I believe that we players can improve this mod and make it more customizable, implement console commands, whitelists, custom events, web UI, plugins and more. If you want this to happen, then go and support them on Patreon. Let them know that the players care about this mod. With all that being said, it is time for conclusion. If you still want to play this game in co-op, then download this mod and call your friends. It is not going to be a smooth experience for sure, but you will certainly have some fun. You will also learn more about the ways this game works behind the scenes, and you will feel a sense of accomplishment after solving certain bugs on your way. In case you need some help with the installation or solving bugs, I have a special guide on my website. That is all for now. Feel free to share your questions or feedback regarding this video and co-op experience in the comments below, and please subscribe to my channel to support my work. Thank you for watching and listening, have a nice day and stay safe.